Good morning and welcome to our Sunday morning service. On Sunday mornings we have two, the first of which is devoted to Bible prophecy. We do a weekly Bible prophecy update. And then second service is our sermon, a verse-by-verse study through God's Word. That will be live streamed at 11:15 a.m. Hawaii time. We'd encourage you to join with us today. Lord willing, we will complete Philemon. And today I want to talk about some of the reasons that God allows adversity in our lives, especially during those times when it just doesn't seem to make any sense. And so that'll be second service. For those of you that are here, you're welcome to stay as well. Now at least that you've got a parking spot, you don't want to lose that. So we'd encourage you to do so. Also, for those that are watching online on YouTube or Facebook, we would actually encourage you to go directly to the website, jdfarag.org. There you can view and watch the uncensored entirety of the update, as we only really have on YouTube and Facebook the introduction, which is typically about 20 minutes or so, and today it will be about the same amount of time. One more thing before we get started, and it's a praise report pictured here. Oh, you got it already. Well, I want to update you on really an answer to prayer, and at the same time, I want to thank all of you for praying because the antennas are no longer on our building. Yes. As only the Lord can, they have been removed, and now we are going to proceed with the repair on our roof. And so I just wanted to say thank you to all of you that have been praying and continue to pray now, because now the next project is repairing that roof, and so we no longer have any leaks. So again, thank you for that. All right, let's get to it. So for today's update, I'm going to need to ask you once again, I hope you don't tire of me asking you this, but I need for you to bear with me today as I do something just a little bit different and paint the prophetic canvas with a broad brush. And this, for a number of reasons, not the least of which is that time simply does not permit me to go into great detail by virtue of everything that's now happening. And in so doing, what I'm hoping to do is answer the question of why this and why now. Doubtless, you've been following the breaking news out of Israel, with all the Hamas rocket and missile attacks being fired from Gaza into Israel. There are no less than 5 concerns at this juncture, the first of which is the sheer volume of Hamas attacks with seemingly no end in sight. Second, and perhaps more concerning, is the potential for Iran-backed Hezbollah from the north in Lebanon, my birthplace, joining in with what's already been an escalation. And third, this current escalation is leading those who are otherwise very cautious when it comes to this and their commentary on this. They're usually erring on the side of an abundance of caution and try to be the voice of reason. Yeah, this is another flare-up, and there will hopefully, Lord willing, pray that there's a ceasefire. Well, they're not saying that. Normally, the conservative voices are suggesting now instead that Israel may very well be on the brink of all-out war. And fourth, and equally concerning, is that this comes at a time when Israel subsequent to a failure for the fourth time, was unable to elect a prime minister and form a government. Truth be made known, Israel does not have a functioning government at this time. And fifth, and again, possibly equally concerning, the U.S. is sending conflicting messages concerning Israel, and even worse, is rumored to be sending $90 billion with a B to Iran, the chief enemy of Israel. Also, here in the U.S., there is now a growing concern about what we're told was a cyber attack on America's largest fuel pipeline. The result has been the all too familiar images that riddle our news feeds of these long lines of cars, only this time, instead of being in line for food, they're in line for fuel. Add to this the manufactured crisis, pun intended, fueling the fear of an ensuing shortage. There's no shortage. But this fear of an ensuing shortage of not just gas, but goods, supplies, building supplies, and even food. It is a manufactured crisis. If this weren't bad enough, we still have what I'll call, at least for now, the global crisis, which, by the way, isn't going away, nor is life ever going back to normal. Sadly, those coerced, even forced, to acquiesce in order to keep their job and or government benefits, do so thinking they're going to get their lives back. Then, to add insult to injury, again pun intended, not only will they never get their lives back, instead, their lives will never be the same again. Now, right about now, I can tell by the way you're looking at me. Wow, Pastor, that's quite a bleak picture you're painting on the aforementioned prophetic canvas. But would you agree that it does beg the question of why this and why now? You'll forgive me for what may seem like an oversimplification, but the answer to why this is how it ends. And the answer to why now is this is when it ends. Specifically, for Christians, this ends in the rapture. And for those who are not, it ends in the Antichrist's revelation and the 7-year tribulation in that order. Please know that I'm keenly aware of how this can foster despair. However, if that's what it takes to get people to Jesus, so be it. You know, it seems that, and I'm just going to share from my heart, Every week, the updates get more and more difficult for me. I'm thinking about myself, not you. They're getting very hard, if I could be so candid with you. And the Lord is so faithful, He's so good, and as only He can, and is always so faithful to, just settles my heart and calms me and ministers to me and says to me, just get them to me. That's all you got to do. And don't take too long. Just get them to me as quickly as you can. So, that just kind of took the edge off, took the pressure off. And so I stand before you today, as is my privilege every week to do. And I just have a very simple message for you. Get to Jesus. And don't wait. Get to Jesus. Jesus and His soon return to rapture us as His bride is not only our blessed hope, it is our only hope. And thankfully, here's the thing, we still have time. It's a very short window of time and opportunity, but we still have some time, as little and as short as that time is, to seize the moment and reach the lost for Jesus now. I think about in Israel, the Jewish people, they need Jesus. I think about the Arab people, my people, they need Jesus. Jesus is our only hope. When the Apostle Paul wrote to the church in Ephesus, it's recorded in Ephesians chapter 5, I want to read verses 15 and 16. He speaks to this. Listen to this. He says, "Be very careful then how you live, not as unwise, but as wise, making the most of every opportunity." Why? Because the days are evil. I don't know if there is another verse as fitting as this for us today. We are living in a day where evil is seemingly waxing worse and worse, not only by the day, but seemingly with each passing hour. And it is incumbent upon us as God's people in these last moments of world history to seize every opportunity, make the most of every opportunity, and be very careful how it is that we conduct our lives, circumspect in every regard, circumspect, carrying with it the idea, circular, being aware of everything that is happening. I'm sorry, I'm turning my back on you. This is my TV side, by the way, right here. Sorry. But it's being aware of everything that is happening around you and being very careful then, living in wisdom, wisely, not unwisely or foolishly. When he writes to the Romans, this is a well-known verse in chapter 13, verses 11 and 12. Paul says, "And do this, understanding the present time. The hour has already come for you to wake up from your slumber." And here's why. Because our salvation is nearer now than when we first believed. The night is nearly over. The day is almost here. So let us put aside the deeds of darkness and put on the armor of light. Listen to what Jesus said. It's recorded in John 8, verse 12. He said, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. Would you agree with me that the world is getting darker by the moment? But for those of us who know Jesus, we will never walk in darkness regardless of how dark the world is. Why? Because we have the light of life. Who's the light of life? Jesus. Psalm 119, 105. I love this verse, this psalm. Great psalm. Thy word, O Lord, is a light to my path, a lamp to my feet, to light the way in this world that is getting darker with each passing moment. Jesus is the light. I would humbly submit, and again, I'm asking if you'll just bear with me. I truly believe with all my heart that God is even now judging this dark world. And He's doing so people will let go of the world, especially His people, and follow Jesus as the light of the world. Now stay with me because we have a problem. The problem is, there are those who are saying that there's going to be this great revival, this great awakening. And the result is that many, and we're talking about Christians, are still holding out hope in this world, which has the effect of delaying, even dismantling any urgency concerning the Lord's soon return. Because if that's true, and it's not, that there's coming this great revival before Jesus can come back, then that means that Jesus cannot come back until there's a great revival. So now, all of a sudden, as we just by the way, you guys today, was magnificent as you were worshiping. Turn your eyes upon Jesus. And when you do, the things of earth grow strangely dim. But wait a minute. If there's going to be a revival, then that means that Jesus isn't coming, because there has to be this first. You fill in the blank. And so now all of a sudden I'm not turning my eyes upon Jesus. I'm not looking up and lifting up my head, knowing that my redemption draws nigh, seeing all of these things begin to come to pass, because this has to happen first. You have just delayed my master's coming. Don't be doing that. You probably already know where I'm going with this, so I'll just get to this. Matthew chapter 24. To me, one of the most astonishing of the parables that Jesus ever taught. It's at the end of Matthew 24. I'll begin reading in verse 45. Who then is a faithful and wise servant, whom his master made ruler over his household, to give them food in due season? Blessed is that servant whom his master, when he comes, will find so doing. Assuredly, I say to you, that he will make him ruler over all his goods. But, oh boy, if that evil servant says in his heart, my master is delaying his coming, no hurry, no worry, and begins to beat his fellow servants, and to eat and drink with the drunkards, the master of that servant will come on a day when he is not looking for him, and at an hour that he is not aware of, and will cut him in two and appoint him his portion with the hypocrites. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. You know what the difference between these two servants was? The faithful servant was found faithful when his master returned because he lived his life believing that his master could return at any time. Conversely, the evil servant, by contrast, did not live his life in such a way because he did not believe that his master was going to come as soon as he did. So he's got plenty time. Party on. Eat, drink, be merry, no worry, no hurry. And then, when the master returns, he is completely caught off guard. Totally not expecting his master to return as soon as he did. I'm going to get right to the point. Some of you are saying to yourself, thank you, Pastor. It's about time. Just get to the point here. Some of you are probably asking, do you even have a point? I absolutely have a point, yes. But in order to get to the point, we're going to end the live stream now on YouTube and Facebook and redirect you, if you're not already there, to the website, jdfarag.org.